Monday 26th of September marked a very sad day for rugby, with Worcester Warriors entering administration. As a result of financial mismanagement, the famous rugby club from Sixways has been suspended from all rugby competitions that will see both their men and women's sides cease activities for the immediate future. The issues have affected many people linked with the club: fans without a team to support, players without a team to play for, and staff without a job, and in some cases without a wage to pay the bills. It's a shocking situation to be in, and everyone at Catch-22 Rugby wishes all the very best for those impacted by recent events in Worcester. With the dust still settling from the announcement, there's quite a lot to pick out of the immediate aftermath. So we thought now would be the perfect point to bring you up to speed on what's been happening and why it's important to rugby fans throughout the wider community. I'm Benny from Catch-22 Rugby, and we bring you up to speed on what's been happening at Worcester Warriors. Off the bat, it's probably worth bringing the uninitiated into the loop. Worcester Warriors are an iconic team of English rugby. Founded way back in the 19th century, the club spent the majority of its time as an amateur club, acting as a pillar for the community in the Midland City. When the 90s hit, the club enjoyed fantastic success climbing up the English pyramid, partially thanks to donations from local businessman Cecil Duckworth. Duckworth, who made his millions in the boiler industry, bankrolled the club to top-flight English rugby by the time of the new millennium. In the past 2 decades, Worcester has spent 15 years in the Premiership, won a Premiership Cup and British and Irish Cup, turned their home ground of Sixways into a sporting complex, and hosted several internationals within their team, most notably Duane van der Merwe, Rory Sutherland and Ollie Lawrence in their current squad. Worcester was successful, thriving and sustainable. Sounds like a tidy setup for a pro rugby team. So what exactly has gone wrong at Worcester? While it's easy just to say bad financial management, there's a lot more to it than that. Following Duckworth's withdrawal from Worcester in 2015, the club had been owned by a variety of businessmen and consortiums. In 2018, the two current owners, Colin Goldring and Jason Whittingham, joined the board of directors, and by 2019, the majority ownership of Worcester Warriors was acquired by the two men. Now, with things currently being disputed and both men rejecting many of these claims, quite a lot has come out in the public eye. Long story short, Worcester's finances were essentially run into the ground. Exacerbated by the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the club quickly burnt through their TV deal cash, investment from sporting powerhouses CVC, and a significant loan payment from the Department of Culture, Media and Sport. While extra funding streams were sought through sponsors and other means, the pair ended up actually going back to an aging Duckworth for extra cash before unfortunately he passed away in 2020. The total debt? Around £25 million, that also includes a £6 million unpaid tax bill. It got so bad that as of August 2022, the club didn't have enough money in the bank to pay staff wages, with some only receiving over half their paychecks and some receiving nothing. Both Goldring and Whittingham have come under significant scrutiny for their part. Inconsistencies in how the pair acquired their majority shares even pointed towards them using the club's assets to buy their way in. The management of those assets, such as the Sixway complex and surrounding area, have been split between 13 different companies. And while Goldring and Whittingham deny any wrongdoing regarding the club's assets, many out there disagree with their take. With fans, third parties and even local MPs not convinced by the owner's claims, it means the club has had no option but to accept administration. And for those asking, what is administration? It's a process where the courts appoint licensed individuals to take control over any organisation experiencing severe debt and money problems. Their sole priority is to review the accounts, evaluate what went wrong financially, and making a decision on how the club moves forward. Whether that's creating terms to pay back owed money, selling the club to another owner who can fund things, or closing the business down and selling off its assets to pay its debts. In a sporting sense, any club that enters administration must stop sporting activities and, per the rules of English rugby, will be docked points or even relegated from the Premiership. Up until the point of administration, there had been hope that Worcester could avoid this fate. The staff, players, volunteers and fans rallied together to honour any upcoming fixtures. Under the #Together banner, and without pay, Worcester managed to meet requirements for games against Exeter and Newcastle to go ahead. Operating at a reduced capacity, Worcester even managed to win their game against Newcastle 39 points to 5. Off the pitch, various interested parties pulled together in an attempt to obtain ownership of Worcester, including a very promising consortium led by former Chief Exec Jim O'Toole. But with the pressure mounting to the point where Worcester couldn't even afford insurance at their home ground, yet alone petrol to fill their team bus, the RFU had no option but to force an ultimatum as a governing body. Provide a clear report on how the club can financially survive the foreseeable future by 5 p.m. on Monday the 26th of September. That deadline has now passed, and the club has been suspended from rugby, having not provided a report. It's undoubtedly a sad situation for all involved, but it does raise questions over how rugby teams are managed, funded and run. It's safe to say that Goldring and Whittingham haven't had a great track record, but how they found themselves in charge of a pro rugby club has put pressure on those in charge. And what's to say other clubs can't find themselves in a similar situation? Premiership legends Wasp also find themselves in a precarious situation following financial disputes. Their agreement with the Ricoh Arena has put them into financial hardship, and although surviving for now, a similar situation to Worcester could occur. For many, Premiership rugby is not sustainable financially. Teams backed by sugar daddies who plough millions of their own money into clubs just to make them competitive isn't sustainable in the long term. And while rugby will be forever grateful for those who've contributed their own wealth into the game, more concrete funding models have to be established to keep the game thriving in a sustainable way. To quote Worcester centre Ollie Lawrence in his latest Rugby Pod interview, rugby isn't profitable. And at Catch-22, we firmly believe that something has to change. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this Catch-22 rugby video. Appreciate we've only covered some of the topics, but hopefully this gives you a good understanding about the situation at Worcester. If you like this video, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. Once again, I've been Benny, and we'll see you in the next one.